Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Adventures in the Ink. I'm Scott, and joining me, as always, are Matt and Mike. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Doing good.
So, we're here to talk about Disney's Lorcana, as usual, and we are here to celebrate the 1 year anniversary of the launch of Disney's Lorcana. So, it's been one wild ride over the past year. We've had 5 sets come out. We've had challenges. We've had, I don't know how many cards at this point. So we're going to dive right in, and we're just going to give a quick recap over the last year of events. And I think it's going to be interesting if the recap comes from Matt, being a store owner. He sees something a little bit different than the rest of us sees. So Matt, let's have you go ahead and start with your recap.
So quick, according to the app, there is 1,193 cards.
Nice. Including the Ursula's Illumineer's Quest thing, right?
Oh, I'll have to double check, but that's I did click on the catalog tab. I know it had like a total number.
Yeah.
That would also be counting all the Enchanted and all the promos.
Nice. All the cards I'll never get.
You can believe.
Talking from the person who I think between the three of us has the most enchanted cards.
Yeah, I have a lot of Enchanted. I have very little promos. So.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to, whatever enchanted I get, I just flip them. Okay, that it counting the
breaks at that statement. My soul just breaks hearing you say that.
Well, again, as a top owner, so but yeah, so it's been a good year. I've been seeing a lot more people come in. We saw a lot more new people to it. It's interesting to see the demographic tip from, like, you see a lot more couples and women coming into it. I think the team's overall better.
Are you saying that Disney adults know how to shower?
Yeah, apparently. But also, like, just from like a launch perspective, like, they overall, like, they've had some road bumps, but they've handled it as well as most companies do. And a lot of the issues they've had, I've seen other companies have, with, like, you talk about the short stock, and the overhypedness, which is very common for games nowadays. But they handled it great. They increased printing. Every set seems to have more and more printing and stuff available. The only thing now they just need to print more accessories. I need to figure out how to get those to my distributor, because they won't give me the accessories.
Yeah. You're talking about, like, the play mats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the play mats and stuff. But I don't like. Yeah, I have not ever gotten more than, like, one other play mat, if I have gotten a play mat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Scott, you're a collector of play mats.
I am a collector of play mats. I've got most of them.
One more on the way.
One more on the way. I am only missing 4, I think, now. I got all the others.
Wow. If you let us know if you're looking for any, I'll see if anyone in Toronto wants any, like, if they have reasonable prices. We'll let me know. It's easy enough to bring back.
But
so I just thought of this, and you guys can totally veto it, or we can cut this out if you don't want. So there have been 4 sets that we've had, like, actual, like, we've played a lot with since it's come out. If we want to just go set by set and kind of say what our impressions were of the set, you know, things that we remember about playing that set. And I mean, we can just do, like, 1 minute each. like total per set.
Quick, we'll go for it.
Well, then let's start at the beginning. First chapter.
I'll start with my first memories of that. Other than obviously the starter deck tournament was fun. I think people are just learning on how to take advantage of the board state and how to keep control. And like two of my favorite memories were one of the games I was down like 17-3 lore or something, and I came back and won just because of like being able to control the board and waiting out to play my cards or not making disadvantageous quests. So that was a lot of fun seeing that there's some sort of like comeback mechanics. Other core memories were hating Giant Tinkerbell because everyone always seemed to somehow get her out on turn 4 and just decimated my board until I learned how to play around her. And
That's not a dig at you at all, man.
yeah, right.
Not at all.
And then the last quick memory that I have about that set is just hating when Aladdin was out in play, the Aladdin Heroic Outlaw, because you just couldn't quest if you had any low characters, and you're just like, well, now I just sit here and do nothing.
First you would go after Matt with Tinkerbell. Now you're coming after me with Aladdin. I'm feeling a theme here.
Bring it on. Complain about anything that I played. I don't care.
I love the first chapter. It was so fun that I basically that like I had 3 decks. I'm like, okay, so D2 color the deck, D2 color the deck, D2 color the deck, and it was so fun playing around with them. And then like finding out at the end, like Greentail ended up being my favorite to play. With what that was the leftover colored. It was like, okay, I want to do D2 colored. I want to do D2 colored. What can I do with the 2 other colors I'm not using? So it was fun to actually play a fair amount around when it's a very small, colorful. It's very interesting, and like you end up feeling pretty good when you look at like a competitive deck and it's like, my deck is similar to that, and that's mostly because it's not much often.
Yeah.
For me, my favorite memory was just seeing the cards for the first time, being the Disney fan that I am, seeing all the variations of my favorite characters, seeing where the game was going and how imaginations were just running wild with these characters that I've grown up with, that I have loved since I was a child. And so just playing the first chapter was just kind of like rediscovering old friends, but they're like the friends that you went to elementary school with and you lost contact with, and you're meeting them for the first time again years later.
Mm.
That's what it felt like with these cards, especially seeing all the like Dreamborn and Floodborn versions of all the characters.
Yeah, that was really cool seeing the alternate, kind of basically alternate realities of these characters.
Yeah, like I never went through like a major adept Disney phase that I can remember, but Disney was always a part of my childhood with the various movies I was watching, with various games. So like it always has been around, and like it wasn't a big a part of my adult life. And so it coming back, it did feel like a little bit of an old friend coming back. There's also one memory of the first chapter that I don't can't tell on the podcast, but like I get all the cards in, I come home, I spent hours opening packs and sorting cards, putting them all in the app, and it's like at this point like 2 a.m. and I realized I have all but one card. One card, and it was a seal card. So I didn't know until I was almost going through them all in number order, putting them in my binder, then going through, and then all of a sudden they were like, one card.
So, do you remember which card it was?
Yeah, it was the villain from Moana, Kiki.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tekka.
Kaka, that one, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, it was a Teo Kaka. I did not have I ended up buying a full price set on TCG player
Nice.
because I was so mad that I did not have.
Oh yeah. Oh, I have a bad confession to make. I didn't spend a lot of money, but I definitely bought a full playset of Gantu, and then proceeded to buy a bunch more of the first chapter and then got way more Gontu than I needed. I was like, I know this card will never be good, but on the off chance that he's ridiculous, it's worth picking him up for like $1 a piece.
Yeah, always buy single after you decide you're never opening packed again to that debt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am still missing 3 cards from set 1.
Mm.
But the only 3 cards I need to complete that collection.
Well, they can be yours. There's stock at shop.
I know. No, he doesn't have them. The shop
I mean-
doesn't have the cards I need.
I
Oh.
mean, we have 2 unopened boxes of the first chapter.
Yeah. So that was the first set, which was called the first chapter. Second set was called Rise of the Floodborn. Do you guys have any specific memories around that experience, I guess, or opening cards or cards that you remember, or maybe tournament experience?
Me, on that set, it was the introduction of new keywords and how it slightly changed the game to the point where I was like, now I can actually start to get a little bit more competitive. It's not the same repeat every single deck we were seeing left and right. So and set 2 brought just the sense of now we're getting into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doubled the amount of cards you could choose from. So yeah.
Yeah,
So I think with me, it was set 2 where I really got into, okay, now we can start having a lot of fun with the set.
Mm-hmm.
now with the 22, because I would say out of all the sets, that was probably the one that time period I thought the least about Lorcana, because the top had attributed issues. So we had the pre-order and release for that was at a huge fiasco. So like there was very little product in the store. We did not get an OP kit that season, but the card itself was fun. Like I actually would beat through entrance. I drew him in my green tail deck and had a lot of fun with him. Cogwarp was my bane for like the next 2 sets. Popsicle was a very interesting to the format. I remember the healing. I did a Sapphire Amber healing deck based around Rapunzel, Gifted Audit,
Mm-hmm.
and that deck was fun to play.
Yeah.
Great multiplayer deck, but I just really enjoyed the healing mechanic because it was really tough to feel kind of combo-y when it went off.
Yeah. For me, I've got 2 distinct memories. One was when I upgraded my Emerald Steel decking deck or mill deck to make everyone draw out of their decks, because there were a lot of fun cards in there too. But I remember adding like Sad Beast to that, and Donald Duck in that set too, the Perfect Gentleman, but I think he was in that set. Maybe
Yeah, I think he was.
And so I just remember, and I played that deck a lot more, and it was just fun trying to figure it out. It's still not like a meta deck or whatever else, but it's fun when you feel like you're taking a lot of actions in a turn. And I also, the other kind of core memory I have of that time period was when we had a semi-regular member of our local scene, and he went to a tournament in Philadelphia, and it was at that point in my mind that's when Ruby Amethyst was cemented as the villain deck. Like not beta villains, but just everyone hated it because it was just so powerful with the bounce package. And I think that was like the first major tournament that people were playing that. I can't remember, but it was like 40% of the field was playing that deck, and it just is just very hard to deal with such a limited card pool. But
Yeah, and the meta at that time was not great. I remember when we went to the the into the England Championship, and I was talking to the store owner at the store we went to, and he said like that meta made him get out of the game because he did not like the competitiveness. Which is
Mhm.
fair. The part of the reason why they would not do an official tournament at that stage. It was all third party stuff because they realized the card pool the game wasn't at a good enough level to really be competitive at that point.
Yeah. So the third set was Into the Inklands, and I'm trying to remember. I think that's the first set that they had set championships for. And
Yep.
they announced that. I think
It's
not
all
it was shortly after that that set went out. Correct.
Yep, and it's also the first one that we had the lolcat for. So like a week or two after that, we had a
Mhm.
lolcat with.
That was the big Lorecast because they also announced the challenge, the organized play, big challenge events.
Oh my god,
one a month, and talked
I was
about continentals and worlds and
I was so giddy after that lolcat. With honest, I think probably next week we'll probably be getting the next one lolcat for the community guide.
oh, did
Oh,
they?
the set after.
Do you
They
know
do.
if they made
They
any announcements or?
not yet, but the last two, I think, would relatively close after the Hobby Tour release.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess is probably going to be next week or the week after.
Nice. That'll be exciting.
But
I don't know.
Ravenburger seem to have a habit of like, oh, we're seeing a pattern, and they completely change it.
Yeah. Now they're just gonna be radio silent until like a week before it's released. No.
T23 were good enough. It's fine.
Yeah. So one of my favorite memories about Into the Inklands is actually everyone and their brother hating on Lucky Dime and saying this is such a terrible card, and then it becoming a staple in two different Sapphire decks and becoming just kind of powerful that people were just annoyed by it.
It was the first that I actually decided to start following the meta and being competitive. So I finally downloaded Pixieborn at this point. I started playing a bunch of it. I find a deck I like, and was just like really getting my hours in, and then ended up winning the set with
And the playmat
yeah,
championship.
and the play. Yep, winning Whole King, which is the biggest tournament I have ever won, with like 40
Like
people.
40 plus, yeah.
Yeah, and I've done two smaller challenges since then, and what I did 10th and I did 6th to that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. That was probably my first big tournament that I played in a trading card game since probably some of the pre-releases for Magic the Gathering. I don't even remember the last one I went to. I remember going to the 10-year Magic the Gathering, anniversary in 2004. So it's been a long time.
You got a big one coming up.
It's true.
Got Toronto.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be for sure the largest tournament that I'll play in. Scott, you have any Into the Inklands memories?
With me, Inklands was just a set where I finally decided that, you know what? Maybe I do want to start getting a little competitive. 'Cause up until Inklands, I was just playing for fun. I didn't care about card decks. I didn't care about meta. I didn't care about it. But Inklands, I think, was the first time where I finally decided, you know what? Maybe I should really start paying attention to building decks and actually making cohesive decks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a topic that we need to get to on one of our podcasts that'll be more evergreen is, what to think about when you're building a deck. Because it's definitely a daunting experience. But I remember talking to you and you're like, yeah, I met with, I think, Corey, and you're like, we revamped my deck to put in all these cards and take out these other ones. And uh-oh. Scott looks a bit
Yeah, I
frozen.
don't. Yeah, my decks have been revamped quite a few times now.
It that's really how the
from what
plot did it.
from what they started as and to what they are now, they have completely went over an overhaul.
Hmm.
Look, you just find a jank fun deck, and you play it, and then you just throw react people like, hey, how can I improve the deck? Okay,
I
how can I
can't
improve
wait.
this?
Yeah,
I got two brand new decks that you two haven't even seen yet.
yeah, because you've got is that ones that you discovered or thought about at Gen Con recently,
Uh,
or
no, these actually one of them came from an idea from Gen Con, but I built a deck. I made it my own, and the other one is just a deck I thought was going to be fun, and it turned out to be a lot of fun to play.
nice? Well, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
yeah. Next time I'm at League, I'm gonna have after the Toronto, I'm gonna have a bunch of new fun deck to mess
Yeah,
around with.
I've got one I've got one brewing just to give you guys a preview. Matt may know because he's played Magic, and Scott, you've played Magic before too. So, um, Item Storm. I'll let you figure out what that is. It's either going to go really awesome or it'll just burn terribly. But
Oh, that's how my Mufasa get going. Like, I'm your dad? Oh, I'm going off.
yep, yeah. Uh, so the last tournament or the last set that I guess we'll talk about in the year interview, since we haven't had a lot of time with Shimmering Skies yet, the Ursula's Return. Um, I remember watching the. Uh, well, no, sorry. I remember getting the updates from you guys while you guys watched the Lorecast about this, right? And so this was tied in with the announcement of set championships, right? Or was this
Ye-
after that?
yeah, so the third World Cat that we got during the Into the Inkling period talked about Urto Return, and that's the one, yeah, I was giving you guys updates
Hmm.
as they were announcing it.
Yep. And I remember thinking like, Ursula's Return. Where'd she come from? Where'd she go? And then, you know,
They could have left her out of a set. There's one set, and then the return would have been so much funnier.
yeah. But I think one of my best memories was just like looking back at the cards after they announced that, and people picking up all these clues and be like, "Look, here's something that's pointing to Ursula. Oh, here's Detective Mickey picking up a piece of seaweed." Um,
Yeah,
like,
I think that was me. I think once we got Ursula's return and we got the full story, the full lore of Lorcana, that's when it really set in. Like they know what they're doing. They really know what they're doing with this game.
No, they it's been obvious they've had a plan with how cards were read and how it's going. Like they waited till step 3 for location. Um, so like there's a big picture that we're not seeing, and it's very interesting to watch it slowly get revealed.
mhm. So yeah, I would
Hey
say
Matt,
that's. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Matt, this is where you drop in your plug about wanting a TV show about the lore.
Uh, but honestly, though, with card games, like I would like the two ways to do a TV show. There's either in universe lore or people playing the game, and in my heart, I want one about people playing the game.
Oh, really? Okay. Like Yu-Gi-Oh style.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh, Callplay Vanguard, Pokemon actually did a YouTube series now. I think like I don't know, Cooking Journey. I've been meaning to watch that, but yeah, that's about people playing the game.
Yeah, it does definitely draw a lot more hype for the game itself. I think if
It
if if it has people playing the game, but I think it maybe is not as
I
interesting.
I want one about I want the story. Give me a TV show about the story.
Yeah.
I want the lore. I want the characters. I don't want to watch people playing the game. If I want to watch people play the game, I'll go to Adventure Inc.
I'll be happy with both.
Yeah. Uh, so speaking of story, that's also when they dropped the Illumineers quest, which was Illumineers quest Deep Trouble, which was the um, you know co-op version of the of Lorcana, where you can take any deck that you want and play against Ursula, who has kind of a set, predefined rules. What did you guys think? You have any specific memories about that?
I love that. I remember the day the day it came out, we all playing it together. The three of us put Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had the two Geks in it, and then we had the two taller Geks from Earth's Return, and it was fun playing and seeing the different co-op mode, and like seeing the port actually matter
Yeah.
because the port it always been kind of toe and actual one-on-one play, but like in Earth's Return, it was a big game changer.
Yeah. That was, yeah, I think that was a lot of fun. Those are like, I still think back to those times of being like, wait, Ursula can do what? Just like, this isn't even fair. But, those are the fun emotions that you want the games to, you to have in the game, especially when you're playing against like the non-player character.
And like now that's what I do to 10,000 Gek that I build. I'm like, all right, Ultra normal mode, we'll go.
Yeah.
How did it play? How's it going?
I haven't thought about doing it that way.
Yeah, what I do when I like ask for people to play and no one responds, I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not gonna play this alone in the top by myself.
Aw. Oh, you're playing with Ursula.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. My last memory was obviously the set championships. That was a lot of fun. I did pretty well. Got third place, and yeah, it was fun meeting new people. And I would say that everyone who came to win. Like they were like our shop, can only hold so many people, and it was pretty crowded, and everyone was trying hard and having fun, and there was no there's no mean spirits about it. I don't think I didn't experience it. I thought it was a great event.
The only thing I can think of is there was one guy I played against who was he was a little cold, but not too bad. And then when he lost, he he ended up kicking fifth, so he just missed the ultra. And
Sure.
he seemed a little upset when he was leaving, and that was like the worst I saw from any person.
Which will hopefully be resolved the next time when they give prizes to the top 8.
Yeah.
So for me, my final thought was going to Gen Con and competing in my first formal tournament at Gen Con, because up until actually for the first year, I only ever played locally at the stores. I never competed in a single formal tournament like you guys did. So competing in the first tournament, it was a nice little wake up call of how exciting competing in tournaments can be.
Mm-hmm.
I've done tournaments before in other games. The first one in Lorcana and seeing the decks and playing against the different decks, that's where I came back, and that's where I'm like, yeah, now let's go build all these decks. And that's what I've been doing now for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, there was my first opportunity to go to a challenge event. So I went to Chicago with it the first time in not part of like a cool trip. I've been to Chicago, and it was nice to actually meet up with an online friend who I never saw in person before. It was fun, like the team Chicago and going to the big event with like, 1,000 people competing. It was very interesting to see all the different gags, talk to the different people. I saw one person who was doing pretty well, that doing a very jank gag that was like a Amber Teal Mafata gag. And like he was doing very well with it, and I thought that was fun. And I'm like, oh, I have to try that. And then go home. Oh, I only have one Mafata.
Yeah. Yeah, tournaments are a lot of fun. I'm glad that they're making it a less feel bad for the top cut, and that they consistently have them for each set. So I think it's a
Yeah.
great onboarding for a lot of people into like, hey, let's try our best and see how we do.
Yeah, because honestly, event is when you get the full feel of community. Like you get some of it at local league night, but like when you actually travel to these events and you actually see the same people, like
Hmm.
even though I don't like really know any of these people, but the fact like every time I go to a tournament, I'm seeing the same faces and chatting with them. It's nice. It really does feel like a community. Because I don't know if I mentioned it to you guys, but I have not mentioned that on the podcast. I Every tournament I have been to, except for the ones at Terrain Factory, I have ran into the same woman. Like,
And you've
and
played
she lives
against her
in
too, right?
yeah. Yeah, I played it. We gone together. We played together. She lives in Toledo.
Hmm.
Oh, the Toledo. No, yeah, she lives in the like the Toledo area. So
Yeah.
it's funny that we just keep running into each other because we went to Chicago and I played against her at like round 5, I think.
Telling you, this is like anime plot armor kind of stuff.
For me, we go like that. People that came and competed in the store championship at Adventure Inc. I saw at Gen Con competing.
Nice.
So I didn't get the chance to talk to them because they were in their tournament. I was over in my tournament, but I saw them. Like, so yeah, it's seeing the same people at completely random places.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. The tournaments really make the community. It's like the kind of flag post kind of events that you can say, yeah, we've got a community. There's a bunch of people who care about this game, who want to see it succeed, and it's just fun to play with. So, well, I think it was pretty fun. We got to talk about our each of our personal experiences, good memories that we have. A little time capsule for us that go back to in a year. See what
And
the next
like,
year brings.
and Kim and Kai did out, but it's still new. We're still making those memories.
Yeah, item storm. That's all I have to say.
Oh
See you
my god,
later.
my Robin Hood jacket. Oh, Beast Revengers are coming back.
Hmm. Oh man.
Hey, just remember, I had a Robin Hood deck burst, which has been greatly improved, by the way, by Shimmering Skies. So,
No, you have a Robin Hood movie themed deck. I'm having a Robin Hood deck.
uh,
There's a dip.
so do we want to move on to talk about? I guess we talked a lot about our personal experiences. We didn't discuss a bunch about what we thought about Ravensburger and kind of Disney. Are there any thoughts that you guys want to interject? I guess you talked a little bit in the beginning, Matt. Is there any more stuff we want to talk about before we go on to looking forward?
I think it's been interesting to see how they interact with the community. The official Discord people, all that have just been on point with interacting.
Hmm.
Uh, and I think overall they're doing a good job. I did so far balance have been pretty good. The fact that we've only had one card that needed any bit of tuning, and that was, and they said itself, the main one of the main things they did was because they of how people were saying it was not fun to play against. So I think it it good that are taking that step into consideration. They want to make the game fun. They keeping the game balanced. They definitely seem to be improving. We're not seeing the same mistakes every set. We're seeing new mistakes, but we're not seeing the same mistakes.
That's how you learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say overall, I agree with Matt on the responsiveness. The I think of the specific experience where I reached out to Rochelle about us not getting our OP kit, and she's like, "Oh, give me the Discord name of the store owner." So I gave Matt's information, and she was working with you like within the hour on
Yeah.
that, which was just it's such a great experience. You're like, they're not a small company, and I'm sure she gets tons of messages from tons of other people, but that was really cool to like feel like we had someone working, with us to get our issues solved.
Like I for anyone that need to like get a hold of Ravenburger, the Discord is the way to go. Cause I sent multiple emails that got nothing. Because that's what they tell you on the website is email them. And
Mhm.
then we got on the Discord king and they immediately got the issue fixed.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I know it's not completely within their control. I am sad to hear that, not to hear. We knew that, but the one negative thing I can say is in the past year they got rid of the third party, completely non-profit making uh, online client that allowed people to test decks and play against people from all over the world. And like, I get it, like you have to defend your copyrights and everything else, but it is a sad thing. It's like, okay, you just have to try harder to find the community and find people to play against. So
It was unfortunately getting too big. They had to shut it down. Like it was getting too big and getting too synonymous with Disney,
yeah,
unfortunately, because like all the content you creators you were using there, they were doing pretty major tournaments, and it was, and also based on like what we're seeing on rumor mill that they all working on a digital client. So I definitely can get on the roadmap, but I don't know.
yeah,
But yeah, we
that's
knew day one they were gonna get that down. The no, nothing like that lasts for a long time.
yeah. So it's my one negative, but overall, like I said, most of it feels almost beyond everyone's control. I'm glad that it existed for when it did, when we were short of supply, and um, yeah, we will look forward to new innovative ways to play with your friends online. Uh,
It's not like there's a wonderful game on Team that is a good simulator for many a tabletop game that is mod and done it by mod, and
right.
so when one mod gets taken down, five more pop up.
Fair enough. Yeah. Um, we will, I think, yeah, we should move on. So that was looking back. Now we get to talk about the announcements. Scott, do you want to talk about the announcements that came recently from D23? Looking forward.
So moving forward, the at D23 they announced a couple of new IPs. Some that super excited for, like really, really excited for. So we're getting Chippendale Rescue Rangers sometime this year. 2025 brings us Black Cauldron, and Pocahontas and Pixar arrive in 2026. Uh, it The sixth set will have a some type of nautical theme, as Mickey Mouse, Minnie, and all of their friends are going to be pirates. And then we also get a new quest activity, which are going to be cards that come with a free, like, sectioned off part of the card for the mascots to sign at the different Disney parks.
Mhm.
Um, for me, I'm really happy that we're getting Rescue Rangers. I figured we'd eventually get those as we started to seeing some of the other Disney afternoon shows in the sets already. Black Cauldron is a nice little touch for me. That's, I think, one of the most underrated Disney movies out there. But the thing that is exciting for me is the fact that they are bringing Pocahontas. This is an IP that I thought Disney was staying away from for all kinds of different reasons. So the fact that Pocahontas is coming to Lorcana is extremely exciting for me. And I'm
Yeah,
hoping this means that we're going to start seeing one of the other IPs that Disney's been staying away from too, eventually down the line.
yeah. So Pocahontas, the fact that it dealt a lot with, well, it dealt with Native American and Pocahontas. It was a real person.
Mhm.
Had a lot of issues, but like we got to move on with it. Also, again, a lot a real person, but I think Pocahontas did that. For us, it's a lot more. For like us American, it's a lot more prevalent figure in historical person. So I feel
Hmm.
like that caused a lot more issues. But like we got Brother Bear, would that also have to do with native?
Hmm.
But I think that more specifically Canada. So I am glad we're seeing it. I'm sure they'll handle it with respect. But yeah, I thought like it would be a little bit more of a mm, there's potential issues with using this IP, so that's why we kind of figured they were sitting out on it.
Yeah. I think the biggest out of all of those is probably the Pixar announcement because people were thinking that they
I'm
were going to stay away.
I'm so mad about that. I have so many things to say about that.
Yeah,
I
I
am
have mixed feelings
so
about
pissed
that.
off that Pixar is coming to Lorcana.
Ooh. I mean, hey, are you like arguing it's a slippery slope and you think that, we're going to see Star Wars or Avengers next
No,
or something?
I just Pixar to me is still not Disney. Pixar is Pixar. Disney
Yeah.
is Disney, and they are two completely separate identities in so many different ways. Like when you look at the thematics and how the movies treat each other, there's just so many issues I have with Pixar. They do not mix with Disney at all. Even though I know they had some hints in some of the Pixar movies of Disney characters, it just it's not Disney.
So, so, so you got the Disney Studios, the main children from the wife, and then you have the Mistress Picture. So these are these half siblings, and we don't want to mix those in with the real siblings.
Oh, I see how it is. Hey, don't. It's not the children didn't have anything to deal with it. Okay, don't blame the IP that came from these unnatural relations.
Well,
I
yeah, I agree with some of what Scott's saying that like they do have a different feel to them. But I knew eventually we were gonna get them. I think they mostly just announced it this far ahead for them to be like, stop acting. They are coming. But
yeah,
and I think like the fact that we're getting like 2 whole years without them is a good sign.
yeah.
And I feel like they're gonna handle it well. I mean, we'll be honest, like Zootopia is basically a Pixar movie, and that's in the game. It's
No,
not, but
Zootopia is a Disney movie.
it is a Disney movie, but it's very much the Disney like, hey, all Disney Pixar movies are making a lot of money. Let's try that to get Pixar out of the picture by doing the same thing. Um, because honestly, like I think most people without realizing it probably assume Zootopia with Disney Pixar.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I thought that for a long time, and then I was like, oh wait, yeah, this is not. Yeah,
And Electric Ralph too. Electric Ralph also feels a lot like a Pixar movie.
yeah. But until they
No,
had all the princess
no.
references. So, but to be fair, like, so one thing that you'll notice with like Pixar and even Zootopia and Wreck-It Ralph, there's just not a lot of. It's not classic Disney in the sense of like, it's not a musical, right? There's like, and so to me, it's kind of the hard part about this. Like, what songs would they ever include from Wreck-It Ralph? And the only songs that they can really include from Zootopia are the ones that were sung by Gazelle. It's and so I get the it's a different feel, but I don't know. I think there's a ton of fun IP in Pixar, and it's to me, I come from a background of playing Super Smash Brothers, and it's just absolutely amazing to see Mario fighting Solid Snake and Sonic. Like that's just like so cool. So like to me, I think it'll be a lot of fun, but I know there are purists out there, maybe two amongst me.
Well, I can
Look,
guarantee you right now, unless I am forced to do so in some way, shape, or form, you will not be seeing me play with Pixar characters in any of my decks.
I'm gonna beat you with a solely Pixar deck.
I'm gonna be honest. I will 110 build a Fate Ranger tribal deck if they actually start pulling from the TV show and also the Lightyear movie. I love the Lightyear movie, and I'm so mad we're not getting that movie was not super successful, and we're not getting 15 of them. I want
I
more of that
still
within
haven't
Bud
seen that
Lightyear.
movie.
Oh, it is great. I loved it. Like I don't collect toys or figurines,
Mhm.
but I know how much that mattered to toy sales, and I was so tempted to go and spend like $100 on toys for that movie. Like, make more.
uh, well, yeah, that was a lot of announcements. I think it's very interesting. We talked about Pixar, or sorry, not Pixar, Ravensburger, having their set, like, here's what we're going to talk about on schedule. And up until now, we're only going to tell you one set in advance. And this is our first look of, like, hey, there's an actual roadmap here.
Yeah, this is not uncommon for game to do at big convention. So the fact that they think that they did 23 every year, that did a good time for them to give you a more general picture of like what they have planned.
Mm-hmm.
It helped people feel a little bit more invested in the game. People can stop getting the emails about when Pixar coming.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited. I think it's things to look forward to, but I'm glad that they didn't just like reveal the story. They still leave it, some of it, what's going to happen next.
Well, yeah, they haven't told the story. They haven't told it too much. They only told it the only real details we got at the next step. Like we don't even know like what characters from these IPs are coming. Like we don't know if we're getting Toy Story. We don't know if we're getting Monsters Inc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to imagine they would do some Toy Story just because that's like Pixar's first. But
Yeah.
I'm
Are
just
we getting Lightning McQueen?
I'm just wondering if this had anything to do with the fact that at the same convention they announced we're getting multiple Pixar movies coming out around the same time as Pixar's being introduced into Lorcana.
hey,
Ooh, ooh! It would be cool for us to actually get like new movies right away. That's again kind of what they would have did with Wit, even though Wit wasn't that successful of a movie.
What? I want Lorcana Cards of Wish so bad. I
ooh,
love that movie.
what if they?
I still need to watch it, but I feel like if you have now they have this opportunity of like we have the new stuff coming out. It like people go watch this movie and then they want and the kid wants the most like oh here's this movie in a trading card like this is how you get to new younger people.
It's
If
totally.
you
Go ahead, Scott.
if you love lore, you gotta watch Wish. Like it was this surprise sleeper hit of how well it tied into some of the older movies. Like I don't want to give too much away on the spoilers of Wish, but it definitely ties in a lot of the older movies into this cohesive overall storyline.
It's on my list.
Yeah, I still have to watch it too. But back to your using the new movies that are coming out. It's totally what Pokemon did.
Yeah.
Right? Pokemon came out with movies, and they're like, "Come watch the movie and get this promo card."
Yeah. Oh my
It's
Digimon did the
Digimon's
same
doing it right
thing.
now.
Yeah,
I agree. And like Digimon did it, Yu-Gi-Oh did it. Like
Digimon's still doing it. You go to
yeah.
see the Digimon movies at theaters now, you're getting Digimon cards.
well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's go to Disney movies and get Wakanda cards,
yeah.
people.
I was gonna say you saw what people did at all the different places when the uh, that what is that set of 6 cards called out that they sold at D23, Disney Springs,
Yeah.
whatever else.
I think they just called it the D23 collector
Yeah,
set.
so that set, people are like, leaping over tables and running through the parks trying to get.
So Pokemon, they released in museums, like did like Van Gogh Pikachu.
Oh yeah.
People were like wrecking museum for it, but also like um Detective Pikachu gave out Pokemon cards, and like when we went there and saw it, it was just a guy with a backstick handing them out as we were leaving the theater.
Hmm. Well, all right. So that kind of ties into things that we would hope to see. Right. We've got uh, other ideas. Matt, you've already talked about a TV show that you wanted in the works. You know.
Yeah, so like if we do like a 5-year review and Wakanda doesn't have a TV show or doesn't have an online client, they are dropping the ball. Like if we don't have an online game by the 5-year mark or we don't have a TV show, it's not like they're not even trying to grow the game anymore. With honestly, I would be happy if we make it to year 4 because the contract right now for the IP is only 3 years. So we'll see how the negotiations for year 2 if Disney wants more money.
Oh, I'm sure they're. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. I don't know how
How
that's
many
going to
years
work.
did you say the contract was for, Matt?
Said
So
three.
I would told for 3 years.
Well, D23 would have revealed 2026 as year 4.
Not really,
Well,
because it released in 2023
yeah, I can see 2023 being year 1.
or 0.
Yeah.
So 1 year isn't until today, and then year 2 isn't until a year from now.
So my guess is based on how they're doing stuff, it's probably about set like we'll probably have about 12 sets, and then that's when the renewal process will be.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I think with the success of it, it would, both parties would be remiss if they don't work through those negotiations well. I think there's a ton of people who want to see and have reason to see this game survive. So,
Yeah, that I have seen corporate greed destroy many a game.
yeah,
And I think at this point, if anything gonna kill Lorcana, it's corporate greed.
what's the spoof cards that people have made that
Oh,
Brian bought a pack of? It's like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Locanios.
Yeah,
Locanos.
Lorcanos. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's actually becoming the mainstream game after if the negotiations fail. Uh, yeah, I think.
To me,
Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, what Matt said, the online client, and I'd like to see the community grow. And I know, Matt, you've set a personal goal for our store, like to get however many people on to show up to leagues throughout the season. Um, yeah, I think it's really cool. I don't think it's really hit the younger market yet, and I don't know
It
what they need to do to get into that, like,
it
middle
it
school to high school.
it's starting to. So I think it's a
I
time and the being on the south because I've had people. I had a guy come into the store and bought cards, and I was talking to him, and he discovered the card game because his like 10-year-old son was at one of the stores and went to grab a Pokemon pack for himself, and he also grabbed a pack of Lorcana. Like, oh, mom like Disney, mom will like this, and the dad like, what is this game? And so
Mm.
like he came to the store and he bought like a box of Kimmery cards from us.
yeah, it's actually there was probably like 4 or 5 people at the tournament I played in at Gen Con where they were under the age of 12
Okay,
competing in the tournament.
all right.
Yeah,
So it's coming to the little kid, to the smaller group.
Okay.
so yeah, that's really what you said before. Like, if they can get the more current movies in it and put them on the store to get boxed, so like having a chance in Kanto on a Star Deck box with a good move.
Hmm.
Having Alta still really popular, even though that movie been out for a hot minute.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're getting Frozen 3 now, so
Yeah, yeah, that's having characters that the younger people would recognize on the cupboard is a good way to get the younger people into the game. So if the new Pixar movie that are coming out, they have roughly around the same time the movie are out in theaters, they'll kind of call it have these characters on them that are going to draw the kids in who go see the movies and like these characters.
Hmm.
I have a feeling where the Pixar movie characters that we get in Lorcana, they're not going to come from the new movies, but they're going to be the characters that are in those movies. So we're probably going to see Buzz, Woody. We'll probably end up getting the
Hmm.
Incredibles because those are the ones with the new movies coming out.
Dude, can you imagine getting the tortured toys? Uh, like how creepy those cards will be.
Oh my god. Well, Jack Jack are gonna have. Oh, I can see Jack Jack having like 15 cards. They're gonna be like the next Hey Hey,
Yeah,
the next
yeah,
character, like every set that's different.
yeah, every
Yeah.
single time. Yeah.
The aliens, man. Yeah. So as much as you guys are purists, I think there will be a lot of fun that they can have by putting those cards in.
For me, the one thing I would love to see Lorcana do is branch out into different types of accessories beyond just the playmats, the sleeves, but start doing things like probably t-shirts or something more that people can start buying and showing off their collection to Lorcana in just a normal day thing.
Hmm.
Um, that's what I want to see come out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we did these tonight.
Yeah. Allow me to buy merchandise at the challenges with real money instead of tickets.
Oh my god, like that was the biggest fumble of the challenges.
Yeah.
Like I walked into the vendor space in the Chicago challenge, and I'm just like, I could have done more with it. With it is what I do a lot of like events and stuff. Is that like at a business, but like I have like my business partner organized conventions with it. How I met him. Like we could have got a better vendor setup going.
Yeah. Well, hopefully
Well,
they continue to
you
learn.
guys, I was gonna say, hopefully you guys will come back from your trip up north and you're gonna give me good news about that, about how it's set up.
Yeah.
Is it no? But I
Uh,
feel like they're east of
Yeah.
us.
For
That's
us,
always
it's
what the
almost
beginning.
directly east.
Yeah.
the country is technically north of us.
Yeah.
So, but we are running out of time for this podcast. So, quickly, any last thoughts about this past year of Disney's Lorcana?
I think it's been wildly successful. One core memory that I forgot to share, but was meeting you guys, starting a podcast, making friends, realizing that I actually was in a wedding that Scott was in. We didn't recognize each other somehow, but hey.
And then Matt, one of my friends that I brought to Lorcana, turned out to be an old friend of Matt and his entire family from years ago.
Yeah. It like when I was growing up, like his family was friends with my family. Like he went to school with my older brother. And like when we moved away, we completely lost contact with them. And then now that's like, oh hey.
There he is.
And like did not recognize each other either. It wasn't until like the name of where we used to live came up that I'm like, oh hey. That I'm like, wait a second.
Oh, that was Mike and me didn't even realize it for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like we just kept looking at you like, I know you from somewhere.
So
And then it
familiar.
clicked.
We're kind of to bring people back together.
Yeah.
Back to my earlier statement of it feel like you're reuniting with your kindergarten friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So okay, so let's go ahead and jump into our card of the week. This card is coming from Shimmering Skies, and it is Jafar, Tyrannical Hypnotist. It is a 6-drop inkable card with a 0 strength and a 7 willpower. He is a Dreamborn villain sorcerer. He quests for 2 lore, and he has Challenger +7 and the special ability of Intimidating Gaze. Opposing characters with a cost of 4 or less can't challenge. He is a legendary card. Flavor text is no one will keep me from the broken crown, which is talking about the Hexroll crown. And this card comes from artist of Cam Kendell or Kindle, one of the two, not quite sure. So, Mike, what do you think of this card since you are the one that noticed something about it first?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I heard people talking about this. And when I read it initially, I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. You know, it can't be challenged by characters with that cost 4 or less. And then I realized, no, 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 all opposing characters can't challenge. So it's a like an entire board affecting card, not just things that want to challenge it. So that's really cool. I think typically people are playing, you know, they're only playing a few cards that cost over 4. So really, you know, the Jafar card is saying, you know, you can only challenge us with like maybe 4 cards in your deck or 8 cards in your deck. So there's a potential to really cement a, a a board state where you have a lot of small characters that quest for a lot.
And also, like, if you are ahead on the curve at this point, if you have more load than your opponent and your opponent is on the attack and they have to remove your character, this is a good way to cement it.
Mm-hmm.
So it very much downside is that like he have um 0 attack. So if
Yeah.
he is turned sideways, it's hard for if they have someone able to challenge him. But it's still though like yeah, there are only gonna be like 1 or 2 characters on the board that most likely going to be able to take him out. And the fact that he have 6 toughness still means they're probably going to take about 2 characters to take him out. I think Tail Kong is gonna handle him pretty well since those characters aren't challenging, they're singing damage. But I think he and the fact that he's 6 cost and inkable means he is very much playable. I think we're gonna see people play him.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just went up against this same card tonight. Just before we started filming, I was playing Lorcana up against a guy that played this card against me. And it's exactly what you guys said. None of my cards that I had on the field could challenge. All of my cards were 4 costs or less. What saved me, luckily, is half of the cards I had on the field were evasive. So I was able to just keep questing, and his cards couldn't touch mine. I couldn't touch his, but ultimately, yeah, I could do nothing against this card.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely nothing.
So I just thought of a few fun interactions with this card. So if you're playing um, Emerald Steel and you have the Ursula's Garden location, you notice that Jafar says that characters with cost 4 or less can't challenge not just your characters, but they also can't challenge your locations.
Yep.
And so you can pretty much just neuter their entire board. And you know, if
Mhm.
you throw in some bounce with that, you can just bounce anything that could potentially challenge your Ursula's location, and now they can't quest for anything. And you know, it's just like a total lockdown. So that seems like a lot of fun. Maybe really annoying to play against.
Building it now.
Yep.
Well, I was going to say, why do I have a feeling next week when you guys come back from Toronto, I'm going to have to go up against multiple copies of this card now?
Yeah. The other fun potential kind of like combo, it's not really a combo, but just fun interaction would be using cards that exert other cards. So that way, when they play their card that could actually challenge, you just exert them with like your Elsa or something else, and then challenge them down with Jafar. Because 7 is going to take out almost anything. So, yeah, maybe some sort of Amethyst kind of lockdown deck with
Well,
this, and then move
I,
damage counters with Bell.
I mean, like Tio Amethyst is already the default draw deck, so he'll fit in there.
Hmm. Yeah.
With I want to talk about the flavor tech real quick. So we haven't really talked much about community cards on podcast due to just haven't really had a chance to actually go deep into it. The lore seemed to be telling up that all these villains have different plots now. So I'm wondering if we're gonna end up getting like a villain lore type king because the queens are uniting together. Hades have a king coming up. There's a lot of like self villain tribal, like Pete have a lot of tribal with himself right now. And now like the fall trying to do stuff. So I think we're gonna see the next few sets there's a lot of villains trying to set themselves up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because you guys know me, I'm a lore fanatic. Just trying to pay attention to the cards and see where the story is going. Yeah, I'm along the same lines of Matt. I keep thinking, oh, it's gonna be this villain is gonna turn out to be the big bad. Then I look at other cards, I'm like, no, it's gonna be this one. And I think Matt's onto something about it. We're gonna get like a villain civil war.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun. You could even have like so the next Illumineers quest will be like you choose a villain, kind of like a commander almost, or probably low hanging fruit to do something like that. They are smarter than I am when it comes to the game design, but
Or maybe the next Illuminary quest have multiple villains and you can choose who you play against.
yeah.
Or they
Ooh.
set it up as it like Villainous where it's like a kind of like its own board game and then you can buy a phantom.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited to see because right now we have the half Huxwell crown, which was a tie over from Ursula's return in the
With
new set, but we're missing the other half, which I'm maybe is just called the Broken Crown, or maybe he's referring to the half Hexal Crown. I'm wondering if there's going to be some sort of item synergy, like if you get both halves, like they just work really well together, do something kind of fun.
We know where the trident ended up, so we know where
oh yeah,
pieces are falling.
Malika the Fell ended up with the trident. Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
So yeah, again, it's just like all these villains seem to have a king. Also they all can't get into the party.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that our joint artwork for this that it Clonk at a bouncer not letting all these villains in.
Mhm.
Yeah. And something still happened to the Great Illuminary. Dun dun dun.
So, well, we're gonna leave you guys on that note tonight. So thank you for joining us for this episode of Adventures in the Ink. As always, hit like, share this, comment on the videos, let us know what you think. Until next time, Illumineers, adventure awaits.